Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome. This is your girl Aquarii Moon, and today we're going to pick a card on the topic of how to navigate now that the new moon is in Gemini. So there's a lot of, you know, energy right now, especially the air energy, and so it's great to know what to expect, what things to watch out for, and what things to embrace at this time. Okay, so opening, I want us to do a short, centering exercise where we get our breathing under control, doing some long inhales and long exhales. Okay, I want you to really breathe. As you're breathing, I want you to also begin to decide which set of cards resonate with you. Okay, we have the pyramid and the portal here. We have the healing crystal disc here, and we have the pendulum here. Okay, so doing your very deep breaths in, pause, and exhale. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and jump right in. We're going to first start with the pyramid and the portal. Okay. Put that there. All right. Okay, so for those of you that picked the pyramid and the portal, these are the cards that were drawn for you. So I'm going to lay them out, and then I will go over each one and its significance and meaning, to help give you the information that you need on how to navigate now that the new moon is in Gemini. Okay, so the first card that was drawn is horseplay, bearing the number 47. Card number 2 that was drawn is amusement, bearing the number 38. Card number 3 that was drawn is puja, purification, bearing the number 14. The fourth card that was drawn is living goddess, bearing the number 8. The fifth card that was drawn is fire of sacrifice, bearing the number 37. The sixth card that was drawn is the totally bananas card, bearing the number 55. The seventh card that was drawn is the ally card, bearing the number 15. Let's see, that was 7. So this is the eighth card, as above, so below, bearing the number 35. The ninth card is the cosmic carrot, bearing the number 28. Okay, and the 10th card, which is the outcome card, is the last laugh, the future, bearing the number 64. Okay, so okay. So your first card that was drawn was the horseplay card. It's signifying the self moving along an occult path of spontaneity. Okay. And according to the classification by elements, this is a water card. There is a doorway through the spontaneous imagination. And because it is in the navel area, it tells of a lightning of pressures through the power of spontaneity. Okay, so you're going to be that's what the current situation is. Your navel first placement is the situation surrounding the question or what the topic is. So with the new moon being in Gemini, there is going to be a bit of pressure, but it's going to be more on the positive side. And it's going to be a lot of spontaneous things happening, okay, for you. Card number 2 bears the number 38, and it is amusement. So this card is signifying the female principle, the female power principle, Shakti, channeled along the occult path of fulfillment. This card is actually a fire card, okay? And this is the opposing forces in this situation. It does, though, signify the promise of pleasure and fulfillment, okay? And because it is showing up in the spleen center, it indicates letting go of rigid ideas concerning lifestyle, okay? So you've probably been experiencing or been kind of uptight about a lot of things. You're actually going to start feeling relaxed and a little more easygoing about things, and not so stressed and having anxiety and all of that things. You're going to actually relax and have some fun. That rigidness that you were carrying with you is actually going to be passing out of the situation, even though it's not in the base. It is close, and the opposing forces have been your rigid attitude, but because it's showing up in the spleen area, you're actually going to be letting go, okay, and being a little freer. And that kind of ties in with the horses, because horses at play, horseplay, they like, if you ever watched horses play, it's actually pretty entertaining. Being lighthearted and things like that. Okay. So the third card that was drawn is puja, or purification. And the number 14 is actually a highly charged occulate number, signifying mental foundation and the completion of a cosmic creative cycle of 7, an octave of illuminating intelligence principle. Okay. And the meaning of this card showing up is the purification of the self by selfless action, to make a practice of self-disciplined action, humility, adaptation, the development of the will along a spiritual path. Okay. It is actually the conscious thoughts that you're having right now. You realize, and you probably have already started having a feeling of doing more selfless acts. You probably already started doing selfless acts, and things like that. And so, this Gemini energy is only going to make it, stronger. Okay. And, in doing that, you're actually going to be reaching a spiritual fulfillment. Okay. Okay, so card number 4, Living Goddess, bearing the number 8. So 8 is signifying perfect balance through positive channeling of power, culminating in spiritual evolution. It is the number of the planet Saturn, who is occult traditions, who in occult traditions is the power principle upholding the equilibrium of creation. Okay. The meaning of this card is the earthly manifestation of spiritual qualities. Okay, the concept of being chosen and a sense of duty towards higher ideals, and evolved self-development to meet a position which one has been put in, either in the world or out of it. It indicates the potency of miraculous and an evolved aesthetical position of reference. It is a guardian card, okay, and it's related to the signs of Libra and Aquarius, indicating equilibrium and balance of an oculate nature. Okay, so and this is showing up as your unconscious things, your unconscious thoughts on how you should be navigating now that the new moon is in Gemini. So you may either have a Libra or Aquarian moon sign, because it's showing up as an unconscious thought form. Okay, or you have people around you that have Aquarius or Libra moons. Okay, and so this is a really, really auspicious card to get. Card number 5 is Fire of Sacrifice, bearing the number 37. Okay, so the number 37 signifying the occult path of commitment, and according to the classification of elements, this is a fire card. So the meaning of this card showing up at your base, you're going to want to know that there's going to be a burning up of past karma with respect to the world, a break in the past, a break with the past, and a possible sexual awakening in the future. Okay, so you may have been a little bit on the abstinent side, or maybe just not even really, feeling it. But you're actually going to possibly meet someone, okay, that is going to get you more into the idea of being aroused and, starting something more than just a friendship. Okay, so you'll want to recognize the ability of the self to let go of all habits and habit-forming thoughts. You want to replace these with conscious rituals of worship. A deliberate act of self-sacrifice may be necessary to you. Okay, and really, really interesting card to get. So you're going to be having some, just from here, you're going to be starting to loosen up a little bit. Okay, you probably have it's really going to depend, but you may have either you've been out of a bad relationship or something something along those lines, and now you're feeling kind of ready to get back in the scene, and it's actually looks like you're going to have a good time from what it's looking like. Okay, so let's see, card number 6 is Totally Bananas, bearing the number 55. Okay, and this card is signifying the path of psychic release. Okay, the release of latent energies, but without the conscious knowledge of how to direct them. And it is showing up in the heart card. I mean, in the heart card space, and it represents confusion of emotion and the desire to be separated from conventional attitudes to love. Okay, so you really just want to have fun right now. You don't want to get tied down. So, as you are out and about, you just want to be cautious of those that want to try and bind you down immediately. You want to have your fun because you're in your heart. That's what you really want to do at this time. Okay, those are the influences that are going to be present around you, and it's going to be up to you to actually allow yourself to be relaxed and just have fun and go with the flow. Okay, and card number 7 is the ally card bearing the number 15. Okay, so the number 15, so this is the combination of the number 10 of completion with the number 5 of organization. It signifies the raw power of the unconscious in a blatant or erotic sense, the material of all intentional magical acts. Okay, and so with you drawing this card, you have been given this creature as an ally, okay, to help overcome lower orders of consciousness. The ally is the form of the basic raw kundalini fire, the serpent energy of the sexual center. At the ally card is to be understood as a psychic tool to be used when situations of negative outside influence need to be overthrown. If regressive or destructive aspects of the self need to be caught or burn up, the drawing of this card will indicate that help is on the way. Okay, and the location of this card in this tree of life really just indicates the nature of the ally's influence. Okay, and so there is a bit of fear that you need to overcome because it's showing up around your heart space, and it is card number 7. So you need to get over the fear that you're carrying with you about being free, about expressing yourself freely. Okay, you've been letting yourself be confined for too long, and you're starting to feel like, okay, I need to get out. I need to see more of what's going on in the world. Okay, so card number 8 is as above so below, bearing the number 35, and it's signifying resolution of complementary cycles of activity. Okay, and according to the classification of elements, this is also a fire card. Okay, this is very much a heart card, but it is showing up in your in the environment, okay, space, and also the throat chakra space, which is part of the head. So because it's in the head area, it is suggesting attainment of balance and insight into the mysteries of metaphysics. Okay, and it's indicating also an opening of the heart and the subsequent refinement of the emotions. So you're going through some emotions regarding, how to be free, and how, everyone kind of struggles with that. Even when you're older, depending on how you grew up and what types of relationships you've had, everybody's emotional response is different. And so you're going to be dealing with some emotions, getting rid of some emotions that aren't going to be good for you, and adopting new emotions that are actually going to help you to free yourself, from whatever it is that you've been keeping yourself trapped in. Okay. Card number 8 is the Cosmic Carrot, bearing the number 28. So the Cosmic Carrot is signifying the high potency of the oculate transmission. This is the perfect multiple of the number 7, an expression of the mystic teachings related to the inner protective circle of the self. According to the classification by elements, this is an air card. Okay. I noticed a lot of the air card. You can usually tell when it's an air card because it'll have like clouds, some type of air type of element in it. And with this card showing up, there's an earnest desire for you to have liberation and enlightenment. You've been on a path and you're starting to wake up and realize that there's a lot more that you want to do. You need freedom to do what you actually want to do, and so you're starting to realize that, and you really, really have an earnest desire, okay, to do that. And it is also showing up as an indication that there's a need for spiritual slash physical discipline, such as yoga or meditation, Pilates, things like that. Okay. And before I set it down, it is very much an oculate card. So if you haven't really been looking into studying oculate topics, maybe it would be a good thing to help get you into it, or maybe that is what you're doing, and you feel like now is time to be free with expressing that you like oculate topics, you like learning about that type of stuff, because honestly a lot of people do get freaked out when they find out that you like topics like that. Okay, so I know, because I speak from experience, so I can relate to that needing that desire of liberation and enlightenment. Okay, so the outcome. So this is going to be kind of the overall gist of what to expect, and how to really navigate now that the new moon is in Gemini. Okay, so this is the 10th card that was pulled, and it's the last laugh, the future, bearing the number 64. And it's signifying the exalted cycle of transformation of the psyche. And this is the number of the secret dakinis. According to the cycle of activity of the Tantric Dakini Oracle, this card indicates the potent power of the future. You're going to need to take a position of dominant power, okay, or influence over the energies that are going to be present. You need to learn to laugh at yourself and at the situation at situations that you find yourself in, and in doing so, you're able to cut through all limitation normally attributed to karma. And because it is showing up in the head, it tells of an advantage gained. Okay, so you're actually going to be winning. If you've been kind of in a rut and things haven't been going your way, with this new moon in Gemini, you're actually going to be attaining what it is that you've been pursuing. Okay, so help is on the way. You have an ally, right? You have an ally that's going to be helping you out. And as long as you take a dominant power of influence, in your situation, for this time span where the new moon is influencing us, this is what's going to help you, get the best out of the situation. Okay, guys, so now we're moving on to the group that chose the pendulum. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this aside here, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the cards. So the first card that was drawn is 51, Deep End. Okay, really interesting card. Card number 2 that was pulled is the Scarlet Woman, bearing the number 3. Okay. Card number 3 that was drawn is the Rose Garden, bearing the number 52. All right. Card number 4 is Burning Bush, Lineage Tree, bearing the number 34. Okay. Card number 5 is Dangerous Pussy, or the Past, bearing the number 62. Card number 6 is Death Transformation, or Transfiguration. Okay, excuse me, bearing the number 13. Okay. Card number 7, Pearls Before Swine, bearing the number 59. Card number 8, Elixir Fruit or Essence, bearing the number 56. Okay, the 9th card that was drawn is the Just Passing Through or card, bearing the number 31. Okay, and the 10th card is the Chameleon card, bearing the number 58. Okay, so let's get into it and see what each of these cards means, and what is it trying to help us understand about how to navigate now that the new moon is in Gemini, for those of you that picked the pendulum. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the first card that was drawn, which is the Deep End card, bearing the number 51. Okay, so remember that the first card is the situation surrounding the topic. Okay, so with this card, it's showing up and signifying the path of the self as related to the evolution of the psyche. Okay, and it's indicating that there needs to be an abandonment of the restrictions made by your ego. You need to start to let yourself go freely in all the enveloping oceans of emotion. So you probably have been having some pent-up emotions on certain things. Things have, your emotions basically have been piling up, and you haven't let them release and leave out of your life. And so it's really indicating that the situation where you find yourself, it feels almost alien-like, and you're finding the need to adapt to your situation. Okay, and because again it's showing up in the navel position, the card denotes a need to give up strong feelings of self-centeredness in order to achieve psychic transformation through the female energy principles influencing you. Okay. Card number 2 is the Scarlet Woman, bearing the number 3. Okay, and card number 2, we need to remember that these are opposing forces, and then it's also correlating with your spleen. Okay, so the Scarlet Woman card is signifying the threefold nature of existence as creation, preservation, and dissolution. The Trinity, the trine of astrology, the past, present, and future, the threefold cycle of destiny. Okay, this card indicates the importance of the Shakti, or female energy principle, and her manifestation either as the mystic counterpart in the world or as the attainment of her attributes within the self. It suggests a strongly passionate nature from the sensual to the spiritual realms, either latent or expressed in the heart. Okay, so it's very much a heart card. And sometimes when it's showing up in the lower extremities, a lot of times it can kind of indicate, a potential pregnancy, and if not an actual pregnancy, some type of creative idea or creative situation that's going to start to develop, something that's not necessarily quote unquote born, but something that you create. So it's almost like you birth some type of idea or some type of solution. Okay, card number 3 that was pulled is the Rose Garden, bearing the number 52. Okay, and so card number 3 is correlated to your conscious thoughts. Okay, about how your conscious thoughts are going to be affected by this new moon energy. Okay, and so the Rose Garden card signifies the fulfillment of the path of intuition. It's telling us that there's a highly pleasurable and fulfilling experience, heightening the senses and taking a mystic position within the heart. And although it's not actually a part of the center column, it's actually a female side influence around the heart chakra. It's pointing and telling us of the emotional fulfillment and completion leading to the attainment of heart desires. Okay, and so it's going to be a strong female energy aiding you into fulfilling, the attainment of what you truly want to do, the things that are really in your heart that you want to do. Okay. The 4th card that was pulled is the Burning Bush Lineage Tree, bearing the number 34. Okay, and so this card signifies the completion of oculate preparation. And it's a highly favorable and auspicious card indicating an opportunity or need for you to connect directly with a lineage of mystic teachings. This card presents a moment of insight and revelation. Okay, so this card also suggests that deeper feelings of faith are being evoked or even tested. It tells of the need to eliminate all doubts about the future. Do not hesitate. Be firm in your conviction about the task ahead. Honor the existence of metaphysical authorities and do not doubt their compassionate nature. Okay, so with this card showing up as an outer influence, and this is your unconscious thoughts on the matter, there is going to be a favorable situation, when you start to connect with your ancestors, and also with other people that are into occult or that are into mystic teachings. It's actually going to bring a type of fulfillment for you. Okay, so that is good. You want to utilize this energy. It's looking pretty positive here. Okay, so the fifth card, which is the base center, okay, this card is signifying the occult transmission of power as gnosis. Okay, and this is the high potency point of entry into the occult transmission, a protector to those who value absolute truth and a ruthless destroyer of those who deny it. Okay, and having this card show up anywhere on the tree of life, it should be taken as a potent initiation and initiation, and you need to examine your heart so as to be ready for sudden insights. Okay, also it should be understood as a potent invocation of the past, particularly with regard to the tantric left-hand path, which stresses that there should be no hesitation to perform potent acts provided one is prepared to handle the consequences. Okay, so you've probably already been on a path of discovering yourself, discovering your abilities and your talents, and you should continue to do that. It's only going to help you in the upcoming months and years to become comfortable in the fact that you decided to embrace, things that have things that you brought here that you're probably starting to remember, right, from a past life. Okay, and it's it's indicating you had some type of mystical powers or things like that, and so it's time to start embracing those and utilizing those to get you to where you need to be in life. Okay, don't be afraid of that. Okay, so card number 6. Okay, so card number 6, we have the Death Transfiguration card bearing the number 13. Okay, so the combination of the 1, the unity, and 3, the Trinity, indicating the perpetuity of the creative movement and the position at the center of all time cycles. So the meaning of this card showing up is the end of things as previously known, the breaking of ties, the death of the old self, paving the way for regeneration and enlightenment. Okay, so this is a really, even though, but it's signifying that there's a type of renewal, transformation that's going to be happening. It is showing up in the heart space. Okay, and so there's going to be change through transfiguration and the realization of new opportunities. So as long as you listen to your heart, you'll be able to make the necessary changes so that you can take advantage of new opportunities that come into the picture. Okay. The 7th card that was drawn is Pearls Before Swine, bearing the number 59. Okay, so this card is signifying the path of discrimination through self-awareness. Okay, and it's time for you to use discrimination, and do not let the sense of selfhood become inflated. Guard against disillusionment, particularly with regard to all worldly matters. Keep company with keep company with those who bring out the best rather than the worst aspects of your personality. Okay, so be aware of not only your surroundings, but who you have in your in your surroundings. Like, who are you spending time with? You know, are they actually benefiting you, or are they not benefiting you? Okay. And because it's showing up in the heart space, well, it's not the actual heart space, but it is one of the outer influences, and it's pertaining to the self. The card tells of emotional problems, difficulties in human relationships, which can be overcome if discriminating wisdom is brought within. Okay, so you really need to start discriminating on those people, places, or things that are draining your time, energy, money, whatever it is that's draining you, essentially, and to get out of, the illusion that they're actually helping. All right. Okay, so the 8th card that was drawn is the elixir fruit, bearing the number 56. And this card is signifying the path of the exalted senses. Okay, so it's telling us that you need to take the taste of all things of the world without becoming attached to them. Okay, so it's okay to try things. It's okay to give things a go, but don't become obsessed with them and become too attached to them to where it becomes a habit. Okay, so be cautious to not let worldly things become a habit at this time. Okay, and because it's in the throat area, it tells of a receptive attitude to creative experiences. So you're going to be really open to new creative experiences, which is good. So it's looking like you're gonna be having some pretty cool things going on. You're changing kind of how you see things. You're actually going to start following your heart, and in doing that, your experiences are going to start to become more creative and more fulfilling. Okay. Card number 9. Okay, so it's the just passing through, bearing the number 31. Okay, and so this card is signifying the recognition of the principles of Trinity and unity combined together as the expression of the fundamental truth of worldly existence. And let's see. So, because it's around the heart space, okay, again, the 4 cards on the outer perimeter are the influences, your hopes and dreams, or hopes and expectations, which is this card here. The 9th card is the hopes and expectations, and the others are conscious thoughts and unconscious thoughts, and then the self. Okay, so because this card is surrounding the heart, it shows the tendency to transcend the heaviness of emotional ties to the world and acceptance of the free nature of the spirit. So you do have that, but you haven't really been utilizing it as far as transcending the heaviness of emotional ties to the world. So you're going to get some help in being able to do that, and to not be bound by things that are worldly. Okay, and the outcome card here. Okay, so it's going to be the chameleon card, bearing the number 58. Okay, and this card is signifying the path of adaptability. Okay, so this card is telling you So this card tells of a person who is able to see all around a situation but is unwilling to take risk. Okay, and because it's the at the head location, the indication is of a real need to make a positive, willful change, a positive decision. So a lot of it's going to really depend on you. You're really going to have to want to make that positive change. So the energy is here. Gemini, the new moon is in the Gemini space, and if you want, to actually make that positive change, now is the time. You have full support. You're able to see. It's almost as if you have an unfair advantage point to be able to kind of see more at a higher level. So you're able to scope out the entire map, so to say, and you're able to actually see where snares may be, where things may be more of a positive opportunity. But it's really going to come down to you to make a positive, willful change, okay? And for that decision to be positive, okay? Okay, guys, so moving on to the next group. So for those of you that picked the healing disc, we will go ahead and take a look at what cards are showing up for you guys. Okay. So the first card that was drawn is the Taking Up Arms card bearing the number 60. Okay, card number 2 that's showing up is the Earthbound card bearing the number 21. Okay, card number 3 is the Asylum card bearing the number 54. Okay, card number 4 is Mount Meru, or Center of the Universe, bearing the number 43. Okay, card number 5 is the Temptation card bearing the number 57. And interesting, it's showing up at the base. Okay, card number 6 is Hot Seat bearing the number 4. Card number 7 is Wheel of Great Time bearing the number 10. Oops. Sorry, guys. Okay, card number 8 is Castles in the Clouds, bearing the number 30. Card number 9 is Transformation, bearing the number 20. And the Outcome card is card number 40, bearing the number 49, and it's the Cutting Through card. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and get right into this. Okay, so card number 1, Taking Up Arms, bearing the number 60. Okay, so this card is signifying the acceptance of responsibility as an expression of evolution. So fearlessness is something that the situation needs. Okay, it suggests the need to protect the essence of the self against any outside attacks. So to maintain one's real integrity. Okay, and so it's showing up in the navel center. So there's a bit of invulnerability in your life, and So that's something to really be aware of. Okay, that you are showing up vulnerable at the moment, and you're going to want to take that into consideration. Okay, so let's see what the other cards to help explain what's going on, or what's going to be going on. Okay, so card number 2 is Earthbound, bearing the number 21. Okay, so it's signifying development from the world upward through the subtle centers to the stage of fulfillment in life. So there's going to be a realization of the underlying meaning of earthly existence, the completion of a cycle. So there's going to be responsibility understood in its broader aspect of humanitarianism, and action as the result of choice and free will. There's going to be liberation from the bondage of a habit. There's going to be a change in viewpoint, and it could indicate a change in residence. So parallel universes and the concept of new things emerging from the old. This card relates to the karma and should be meditated upon with this in mind. Single-mindedness, particularly with regard to worldly things. Okay, and because it's showing up in the spleen area, there is a possible health hazard. So you may want to take a look at your health. What are you doing at the moment? You've possibly already started changing your diet, changing your health. You may have went and got a checkup recently. Something related to your health has begun to manifest. And so you're going to want to start being more cautious about your health and what's going on with it. Okay. Okay, so the third card that was drawn is Asylum, bearing the number 54. Okay, and this card is signifying the path of balance as an attribute of initiation. Okay, so you're kind of going through an initiation. It's looking like you're going to start to pull away and be to yourself. Okay, so I say that because this card is signifying or indicating that you need to find a place of refuge and recuperation free from all worldly concerns. Okay, and because it's surrounding the heart space, it's indicating that you have taken refuge in the feeling and emotions so because this card is at the heart space, it shows that the questioner has taken refuge in the feelings and emotions, and that the inner well-being is to the point of balance and the powerhouse of the body. Okay, so you've already been in a type of I'm doing my own thing. You haven't really been interacting with many people. You've probably been a little bit more on the loner side lately, being a homebody maybe also. But that's actually helping you out. So you're more likely going to continue to be more on the doing my own thing type of vibe with the new moon energy, and it's really only going to support you in finding that refuge that you seek. Okay. Card number 4 is Mount Meru, center of the universe, bearing the number 43. Okay, And this card is signifying the integration of the inner and outer worlds, the microcosm with the macrocosm. So basically, there's a desire to forsake worldly ambition for the spiritual path. Okay. And it's an indication. So because it's around the heart space, the indication is of emotional completion. Okay, so you've probably been going through some ups and downs with emotional things this past month or so, depending on what types of seeds you've been planting these past couple of the past new moons, but because it is centering around the heart space, you basically managed to control whatever emotion you were kind of fighting with, or that was draining you or making you expend a lot of energy on. Okay, let's moving on. So card number 5 is the Temptation card, bearing the number 57. Okay, and this card is signifying the path of the oculate choice. So there's going to be a tempting offer, yet a decision has to be made, which should be based on the highest motivations. Okay, and it's going to be good for you to meditate on this card as a doorway through to oculate realms, yet needing right action in order to progress without falling on the way. Okay, so and because it's located in the base center of this tree of life, the card tells of sexual temptation and a past decision in relation to the world. And again, these are influences passing out. So you may have been maybe you probably were in a situation where it was really tempting and you were having a hard time trying to decide what to do, like should I or shouldn't I. So this card is here to help you out, to let you know that this influence needs to pass out of your path. And with the energy of the new moon in Gemini, it's going to be easier for you to do that. Okay, to be able to stand up to that person and let them know, like, hey, it's not cool no more, basically. Okay. Okay, so on to card number 6. So this card is signifying the deeper self rooted in firm foundation and conviction. It is the even number of balance, the 4 pillars of the universe, the 4 directions. Okay, and it indicates being put on the spot, that there's been a responsibility that's been basically put on your shoulders, and you're feeling like you have to, it is your responsibility. And this is a position of great urgency, where decisions have to be made, demanding inner conviction and powers of leadership. It tells of a way through to realization of ambitions, particularly those relating to authority and power. So you may have been, in a position where you're like, not really cooperating or not really wanting to cooperate with an authority type of figure. So now you're actually going to be in a position of power. So stepping into that power is what you're going to need to do and not falter. Okay. And because it's in the heart space, there's going to need for you to commit through the acceptance of this responsibility. Okay, so you're going to need to embrace it and not let it go to another, because if you do, then that's just, things will not be as fruitful as they will be if you take on the responsibility that's going to be presented to you. Okay. Okay, number 7 is Wheel of Great Time, bearing the number 10. Okay, and this card is signifying the completion of a cycle of time. It is the coming together of the digits 1, which is the unity, with 0, which is the voidness, from which all things emerge and into which all things dissolve. The number 10 is a completion. Okay, so all things are ever changing in a state of flux, yet there are cycles of such activity of completion. This card indicates success through the completion of a time cycle, an unexpected change of luck for the better. Okay, so this card is showing up in the position of the self. Okay, and so there's going to be a change of luck for you coming up in the days ahead. Okay, which is a great sign. Okay, so the 8th card is Castles in the Cloud, bearing number 30. Okay, and so this card is signifying the higher development of the will. So follow through your deepest wishes with the power of the will. Do not allow any bodily laziness to prevent inner desires from becoming reality. So you need to recognize the positive power of imagination, but at the same time realize that without the ability to act decisively, there will be no completion or fulfillment. Try to put one's direction toward the completion of work already commenced. So you've probably already been working on either trying to get a promotion or going after something bigger than what you were doing previously. So you want to keep you're going to need to keep pursuing that in order for it to become a reality. And it's showing up in your throat space or your throat chakra area, and so this card, it does suggest a vivid imagination, particularly when it falls in the throat center of the tree of life chart, but coupled with a lack of creative fulfillment or difficulty in communications with others. So you have a very vivid imagination, but you've been finding it hard to communicate that with other people. And so once you start making more decisive actions that creator's block, or even writer's block, whatever creative medium that you've decided to utilize, you'll be able to start to communicate that better with others. But there's a possibility that you're going to have difficulty. Okay, so that's going to be an area that you're going to need to work on and pay attention to with the energy of Gemini being the new moon being in Gemini. Okay, so card number 9 that was pulled is a transformation card bearing the number 20. So it's signifying duality, united and integrated as a position of tantric potency. Okay, so this is a highly auspicious card indicating a fine level of self-development achieved. It suggests spiritual awakening, renewal, ecstasy achieved through balanced union and fulfillment. Okay, so there is going to be this is basically what you're hoping for. You're wanting a fine level of self-development. You're looking for spiritual awakening. You want renewal. You want to be fulfilled. These are your hopes and expectations of what you want to come in the next couple of days, as the new moon is in Gemini. Okay. And so let's take a look at the outcome. So the outcome card is the cutting through card bearing the number 49. Okay, so this card is signifying the full resolution of the path of the self, the oculate experience linking this world to the next. So, all in all, you need to act in a decisive and conclusive manner upon all problems of thought which inhibit clarity. Use wisdom, which is right thinking, and means, which is right action, to achieve liberation from any such problems, and do not be afraid to eliminate concepts which are without any particular value. Okay? And so basically, it's time to step up. It's time to take decisive action and make those grown-up decisions. There's going to be a type of spiritual breakthrough for you, and preparing the ground for real commitment. So with this card showing up, you're definitely going to be cutting through the barriers that have been either placed before you or by others, or that you've placed there yourself. But as long as you make some decisive and conclusive decisions, then you'll have better clarity, okay, and a more fulfilling rest of the month, okay. Okay, so I appreciate everyone for being here, and until next time, I wish you well, and this has been Aquarii Moon. I'll see you guys tomorrow.